So there's this quote about insanity that I'm sure you've heard before, which says that it's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Supposedly, it's from Albert Einstein, but I guess he wasn't associated with it until the 80s. There's even speculation he never said it at all, and it was actually Rita Mae Brown. But anyway, I digress. The quote, by whomever, has really been sitting with me lately. You see, I had a really rough start to the year, a month of being sick to be specific, along with dealing with art block and burnout, which lasted until the beginning of April. A few weeks ago, my dopamine-fueled ADHD brain was like, I'm going to draw every day for a month. I'm going to restart this abandoned sketchbook I got laying around, and I am going to fill it in 30 days. Now, this started well enough. I did draw every day for 9 days. Then I missed a day. It's cool. This is totally fine, I told myself. I'll just pick it up again tomorrow. Not a big deal. It was a crazy day. I figured drawing for 29 out of the 30 days was actually great, and it was still working towards building a habit. Unfortunately, that cycle continued for 4 more days. On day 5, life got crazy. We had a really bad week with my special needs daughter, and that continued until the next week. Things like this happen all the time. It seems like the universe is totally fine with my hubby playing hockey on his nights, but when I walk myself to the studio, the universe is like, watch this. Trucks break down in his trucking company and they have to be fixed. It's our income and it's totally valid. We've got to eat and have a roof over our heads. I am nowhere near being the breadwinner here, and it's justified, honestly. But other things happen too. Interruptions via phone calls and family emergencies only seem to pop up when I'm trying to paint or work on my business. It's gotten so bad that I think my studio is bad luck. The universe says art is not my calling, and my only job is to cater to everyone else's needs. As long as I'm unhappy and drained, everything is fine. I even talked about this with my hubby, and he said the same thing. He told me I went to the studio and a truck broke down while I was there. He told himself, I'm not calling her. And it ended up working out. The truck was out of state and the driver got a ride to the dealer and was able to get the part that he needed to get the truck going. But he was like, oh my God, it happens every time. What the hell? And just for transparency, he does fully support my art and the things that I love to do. Mental health and all of that. Mind you though, I hadn't been in the studio for a month at this point, and that was the day that the universe chose chaos. To be completely fair, my brain sabotages me as well. I get overwhelmed extremely easily. I have ADHD, and I'm also a Virgo, so things do in fact get complicated. After my 5th day of not drawing in my 30-day drawing challenge, I started doom scrolling and not going on my mental health walks for about 2 weeks, which was an awful choice on my part because the walks outside definitely ground me. Earth signs, you know? I come back in such a better mood, feeling recharged. Anyway, during my doom scrolling fest, I found the perfect video on TikTok that describes what it's like in my head, being a Virgo with ADHD.
Being a Virgo with ADHD has to be one of the roughest human archetype combinations in the entire universe. On one hand, there's traits of them that complement each other so well. Like the analytical side of the brain, the pattern recognition, both Virgo and ADHD have. The Virgos strive for perfection with the ADHD hyperfocus is a crazy combination. Like once we get locked into something, it's a wrap. But there's so many other things that are complete opposite that fight each other. Like the Virgo wants to be organized and have a plan and have everything set out perfectly. But the ADHD is pure chaos and creates a mess everywhere that it goes. It moves faster than it can complete its own tasks. So while the Virgo's trying to close tabs and organize everything and make everything into a straight line, the ADHD is just opening tabs and leaving half-done things all over the place. And then the anxiety that comes from all the ADHD stuff makes the Virgo want to hide and withdraw even more. And if the ADHD doesn't have the energy to give the Virgo the perfection that it wants, it'll simply just neglect and won't do the entire thing. And it often makes these smaller tasks that could be easier as small tasks into these big giant tasks because they have to be perfect. Then it just adds to the procrastination. It's like a surgical tornado of calculated chaos.
Now, I have never heard it described as calculated chaos before, but I was so relieved when I found it. It was exactly what I had been experiencing. Now, Virgo and ADHD hyperfocus is perfection to me. Virgo and ADHD, chaos incarnate. All of this isn't the point, though. I know what's wrong. I just don't know the steps in the road to follow to be productive and still work with my brain. It's not all bad. Some parts are actually really great, but I definitely needed something to refer to when my busy brain is just living its best life. The next day, I had my coffee without doom scrolling and picked up a book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. It's definitely a kick in the butt. I got out of bed and began cleaning the house. Now, I know this is productive procrastination, but I also have a hard time focusing if clutter is everywhere. I'm one of those people who couldn't go outside until the work was done when I was a kid. Unfortunately, that seemed to carry on into adulthood. And now painting is my reward for doing all the things. I also have a very hard time relaxing. I don't feel like I'm allowed to. This is a mindset I'm definitely working to correct. Anywho, back to the story. I wasn't doom scrolling anymore. The house was clean, and I was feeling good. So I went for a walk. Now on my walks, I have to listen to something because my ADHD brain will just be all over the place otherwise. I put on episode 500 of the Creative Pep Talk Podcast. In this particular episode, it was a 5-step approach situation. One of the steps made me rewind. It was talking about how people with ADHD cannot build habits or do certain tasks if it's more than 2 steps. My freaking jaw would have hit the floor if it was capable. No wonder I couldn't draw every day. My steps weren't, step 1, sit down, step 2, draw. My steps were, step 1, sit down. Step 2, get camera angle right. Step 3, start drawing. Step 4, stop drawing. Step 5, change camera angle. Step 6, repeat until painting is done. Step 7, edit. Step 8, post. And finally, step 9, be exhausted. Now, I'm not saying that I'm incapable of doing that. I have numerous videos as evidence that I can. I just can't do it every day. Because then we have burnout and doom scrolling come back into play. So, I had unintentionally put myself right back into burnout mode when I was trying to make progress. I have been marinating in the 2-step concept here for a minute. Scared to take steps in the right direction because I've described myself as an organized chaos person. I'm slowly beginning to think that that's completely incorrect. I just need a better, simpler system to work with my brain and not against it. That thought drove me to continue looking through other episodes of the Creative Pep Talk Podcast, which the creator of also has ADHD, and came across an episode with the guest Jessica McCabe, who literally wrote the book on how to ADHD. which is set up in an ADHD-friendly manner and meant for flipping around to what interests you at the time. I moseyed on over to the chapter, How to Motivate Your Brain, and took a peek. I want to read a small portion of this chapter to you. Now, this is a brick of a book, so I'm going to read about 2.5 pages, and I hope that's okay copyright-wise. And I'm also going to link the book, and Jessica also has an How to ADHD YouTube channel that I'm going to go ahead and link also, so you can check that out if you're interested. Okay, so this little excerpt is from chapter 7, which is titled How to Motivate Your Brain. And the title for this section that I'm going to read is called Me versus Brain. She says, most of my life has been a battle between me, who knows this thing is important, and my brain, which doesn't want to do it. I usually understand why I should do or avoid doing a thing. But that understanding in and of itself does not translate into usable motivational fuel. It doesn't matter if the task is critical to something I deeply care about or entirely irrelevant and a giant waste of my time. What matters is whether or not my brain feels like doing it. Sometimes I can't really do something unless my brain cooperates. It feels like a hostage negotiation. Sometimes I can push through a task with my brain kicking and screaming, I don't wanna, and actually get the thing done. But there's a trade-off. It takes 3 times as long, I'm less effective, and there's a good chance it'll be harder to complete the task the next time around. Sometimes I can excite and engage my brain only for it to completely lose interest, forget what I was doing, or get stuck at the first confusing obstacle. I have a lot of half-knitted blankets and half-finished degrees. No matter how much I cared about getting a role, graduating college, having a clean home, or landing a quote-unquote real job, I'd find myself avoiding or procrastinating the tasks needed to stick with and accomplish these goals. I often spent so much energy trying to convince myself to do the thing, or figuring out how to do the thing, that I didn't have enough left to actually complete it. If something became urgent enough, I'd kick into gear. Everything else fell away while I finished a paper or scrambled to get to class on time, or apologetically roll into Jiffy Lube 6 months overdue for an oil change because I was about to go on a road trip. The things that were important to me but never became urgent, like finishing my novel, learning to meal prep, or hosting a murder mystery dinner party, I just never got to them. It made no sense to me or the people around me. There were, quote-unquote, explanations, of course. I must be lazy. I had no willpower. Maybe I didn't actually care about this. Occasionally, I was convinced I was self-sabotaging. Why else would I spend an entire summer getting an A in statistics, but not bother to register for the class? On some level, I must have wanted to fail. It was frustrating and exhausting. Most things in life require you to not only do the things, but also do them consistently. And motivation, for me, was anything but consistent. So my efforts rarely paid off, and I wanted to know why. She does go on to say what actually does motivate the ADHD brain, which is things that are urgent, new or novel, the right level of challenging and of personal interest. And then she talks about how ADHD brains are dopamine different, or dopa different. And then behaviors, emotions, and at the end of the chapters, she gives you a toolbox to help motivate your brain. all of which I'm really excited to keep reading about. And I am also really curious to see how the toolbox works and how I'll be able to put that into practice. So I will definitely keep you guys posted on that. As you guys might remember, and if you don't remember, I gave myself one goal this year, and that is to heal my relationship with creativity, which unfortunately means I really need help navigating my ADHD. I have no doubt that this is going to be a long journey, so I hope what I learned recently helps you in your journey. I've linked everything I talked about today in the video description, but before we say goodbye, I must ask, what things are helping you be creative lately? Drop them in the comments so we can all help each other. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.